So, how has your week been after recording our first episode?
Oof, friend, it was tough. I think I really struggled because just unpacking, reliving all of those emotions. And you don't really know my story because I don't talk about it. That's my choice. Um, but this is part of why we're doing this thing, right? So that we can unpack and start to feel the feels and like get through the emotions and whatever. But it was hard. I think straight after Sunday, I just went into like a deep grief wave. You knew that I wasn't being very communicative, wasn't talking much, and thank you for giving me the space. But yeah,
Did
I
I
figured,
know?
yeah, I mean, to a degree, because we don't take a lot of time out from each other. We don't need to. But you were like in the thick of it, and when I wasn't feeling like talking, you would say, "Okay, it's fine. Let me, let you go." So the week was hard, but it was a necessary process, and yeah, I'm grateful for it. I'm glad that we actually got the time to just do episode 1. Because
Sure.
wow,
Yeah.
it took a while to get there.
But also, the one reflection of it is so even though you started unpacking, your grief wave period was shorter than usual. It
No,
was shorter
absolutely.
than when we just started.
And
you
also,
know.
I know now how to like fix it.
Yeah.
How to remedy it. And my go-to is always to play music. So I started a new playlist, and that's what I was listening to. I allowed myself to feel my feels Sunday, Monday. By Tuesday, I had my playlist sorted out, and I was playing it throughout the day, even going to work, coming back. That definitely helped me. How do you feel about your week?
So after the recording, I felt shallow breaths again, which is all part of it. Um, like we said, we know already the shallow breathing is part of the heaviness that we feel. So I felt a bit of that. Um, I didn't feel heavy for long though, um, because I go home, play my music, shake it off. I mean, we have a thing of shaking it off. And it's, yeah, so it's not like, and then also, if you know me, I share my story all the time. I have no problems talking about it because I think I am just wanting people to be aware of it. So, and just know that this is it, this is my life, this is what happened. Um, this is maybe sometimes why I am the way I am. So, I don't have an issue with sharing my stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing. And then the fact that so many people watched it almost freaked me out a little because, oh my word, and all the feedback from people was amazing. It's not, yeah, to say the least. So it's not like we didn't expect it to have so many views within 24 hours. I think that was like the biggest shocker. I mean, now we've almost like slowed down to check how many people have viewed it or has this one checked it. I think we're now okay with where it's at. And the whole idea was for it to be, to an impact for someone. Have someone see it and tell us a story. And so many people have told us a story or said, thank you for opening our eyes to a bit of what you guys go through. So that was nice also about it because we're not doing this in vain. But again, it's also about us and our healing journey on this, which is a never ending battle.
Yeah.
I mean, we know it's never going to end, but at least we can live better with it. And that's the idea.
Yeah. I think that brings us to today's discussion. Do you remember in saying that there were so many comments and so many reviews, and we got really good feedback? Do you remember some of, well, let me put it to you like this: what are some of the most memorable things that people said and did after Ryan passed away? Whether it be good or bad, what stood out for you?
So to me, the one thing that stood out was people would ask, how are you? Which is such a loaded question. Do you tell them, I'm fine? to tell them I actually cried for 3 hours this morning. I couldn't make up my bed. I managed to shower, but thanks, my husband's still dead. And every morning I wake up and have that realization that he's still not here. You know, like that was the biggest thing. And even with Alyssa, it was her thing as well. Like, why do people ask us how are we? What do you think? How do you think we are? I mean, and even though on the outside we look pretty normal, but if you knew us or you knew, like, how do you ask someone? And I know people have a thing of, hello, how are you? And it's not really a loaded question, but when you're going through something, it's like, okay, which answer do I give them? Do I make them feel awkward?
Yeah.
Or do I just say, I'm okay, today's a better day? Someone messaged me once and said to me, how are you? And I thought, there's someone I'm going to say, how am I? And I said, I feel like I'm just on autopilot, blah, blah, blah. And the response was, you know, you can go into manual again. This was probably a month after Rainer died. And I was like, yo, like, excuse me. Like, when you've been through it now, then maybe you can say that. So that was the one. The one pastor actually said a nice thing to me that I didn't realize at the time, but I really took it was, he said to me that when people die young, because Ryan was 39 when he died, people are like, they were young, you wonder, did they live a full life? And he was a widower as well, or he still is a widower. So his thing to me was that regardless of the age, the person lived a full life. So don't feel like there's more. I mean, yes, there's definitely more he could have done. But know that his life was full. And that was that. I hated that thing when people said, you're allowed to be angry with God.
Thanks, I didn't need your permission.
Yes, it was.
I am actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the other thing. I didn't have the at least you young. You know, thankfully I didn't have that, and you can have another because you know it's so they can be replaced, didn't you know?
Yeah.
I didn't have that. But yeah, so that was like for me, like off the top of my head, what stands out for me.
I think a lot of people say and do things with good intentions. I think everybody says and does things with good intentions. I think for me, and please excuse my language, but this kind of warrants that kind of language. A lot of things that people said to me, in my mind, I was thinking, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up, because sometimes people just say too much. So like, you know, people come to you and they say, oh, you know, if you need anything at any time, just call me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what time of the day,
Sure.
you or the children. And again, this was with good intentions, right? But you find afterwards, when you do actually pluck up the courage to phone and ask somebody for
That's a
help,
lot.
then they say something like, oh, I'm not at home now. Can I come tomorrow? For example, like I had a pipe burst, a tap burst in my bathroom the one night. I was beside myself. I didn't know what I was going to do. The next day was school. We were trying to wash, children's hair and, get done and get ready. And I called a couple of people. One person said, do you not have a number for a plumber? Do you want me to send you the number for a plumber? Another person said, oh, I can come tomorrow. Do you know where the stopcock is?
Wow.
What?
Where?
Because in all of my years of plumbing, yes, I know what a stopcock is. And then they explained, well, it's the tap, the mains, basically, you have to find it on the property. And I remember when Sergio had to close the mains at one point, he freaked out because there was a massive button spider off a dung inside of where underneath the covering. So I'm just thinking, like me, I'm supposed to stick my hand down there and I find this thing and then turn on it. Nonetheless, there's things like that. And my absolute favorite was all the unsolicited advice. Like advice that you didn't ask for, also well intent. but like saying things like, oh, they just need a father figure. You think? Anyways, like I know that. But are you gonna give me the roadmap to the tree that holds the father figures and I'm gonna pick one from there, And another one of my favorites was At Least He's in a Better Place. Yeah, but then where does that leave us? In the good place? Because yes, that's a yes. But at the same time, like, don't tell me he's in a better place because I need him to be here. And the best place for him, given the plans and things that we had, was here.
Yes.
I mean, what happens to all of that now? Anyway, and another one is.
Will you say it? Because I'm, what my brain is thinking?
Say it.
Oh, God got another angel.
Yeah, because he doesn't already have a million others.
God got an angel, and like we cannot just say like, so in my instance, Ryan died suddenly, we were good, we fell asleep, whatever, the next day he was gone. I think I did that also. How did he die? Does it matter? Does it matter? He's dead.
And like even the fact that he died instantly. Some people were saying to me, at least he didn't die instantly. He had 6 months to repent. Some people die instantly and then they didn't even get a chance to call out to God. I mean, I know a couple of people that died instantly, so what does that mean now for their souls? I'm thinking that they're in a better place. Are they not in a better place? Because you did say at that time also they're in a better place now, but if they didn't repent, then where are they?
Another angel.
Anyway, there's lots of things that like I say, with good intention. And we have to start changing the narrative about around grief, around bereavement. What's okay to say, what is not okay to say. I'm going to share some of the things that I maybe would have expected people to say. And also, don't get me wrong, I've been in that situation where I have to go and pay respects to, someone who passed away, or the family of the person that passed away. And I've also fallen prey to saying the same kind of things without even understanding how it, is possibly being received by that person. So I'm also that person that said, he's in a better place, his suffering is over now, and we're praying for you, and all of that stuff. But in hindsight, I feel like better things to say perhaps would be, I see your pain.
Yeah, or
I'm sorry.
Or just say, this is a cuck situation, like it's bad and it's really not what we'd want for you, but it's a shitty situation, and I'm sorry, it's a shitty situation. Like, can we just say, it's no one wants to be in that space at all.
Well, I've just come to you and say, oh, sorry, Dom.
Yes, this is
I'm
awful.
sorry.
Like, this is
really sorry.
Yes,
and it's okay to say, I don't know what to say, because no amount of words is anyway going to change the situation.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, just simply saying, I see your pain. I'm sorry. I'm praying for you and the kids. That's enough. Not, I'm praying for you and the kids. God's going to send a replacement. Really? Because he told you?
Like, just say, we'll keep you in prayers.
Yeah, just stop. Stop while you're ahead.
I think gestures are better though.
And even just the silence sometimes. Because sometimes you just want somebody to sit there quietly.
Yes. And
like
around my arm, just touch
be
me.
there. Like, come with a cup of tea.
Yes.
Like you're saying, gestures.
Gestures feel better.
Bring a pot of food.
Yes.
Take the kids out.
We were starving. I think between the memorial and the funeral. And we were like, where's that people that said if you need anything, can we call them now and say we're starving, we're hungry. No one wants to make food. Like, if you're in the thick of it, honestly, showering is a lot. Making up your bed is a lot. Like, everything is a lot. So to actually still have to feed children or other people feeding, there's that so in my case, because my mommy and my sisters is so hands-on in our lives, I mean on a normal day, it's almost like people excuse that to not help, you know, or
But
not.
Zaida doesn't need us. She's got
Yes.
her mommy and
So
sisters.
yes. So don't want, you know, like she's cool. Her
Yeah.
mommy will organize whatever, and I feel like if my mommy wasn't like that, and sometimes it's a blessing and a curse because if she wasn't as hands-on, maybe people would have done more. But I also feel like if people had done more, my mommy could then do less. You know, like in that, it would have just worked out that my mommy wouldn't need to feel responsible for doing more if others did more.
And I mean, your mother was also grieving.
Yes.
She lost
You
a
know?
son, so it was hard for her. So
Yes.
to be, you know, there for you and the children was
Yes.
was hard on her. No, that makes sense.
So the gestures, the come fetch my children if it's just for a few hours because I wanted to be alone. The other thing is why people say go and shout if you need to shout. I don't want to shout. I know, but I'm not a shouter. You know, I'm not going to be looking like a psycho on the beach shouting. It's just not in my nature. You know?
We can go to the beach together.
Yeah, but I'm not going to shout.
You'll shout. We'll shout.
Maybe if we have
If we're
someone
together.
echo, if there is an echo, we could shout a whole lot of shit. But I mean, it's not me. Like it's just not who I am. So go shout and go scream and go hit something. It's like, thanks, I hear you, thank you, but when like because he died suddenly, I didn't want to leave the children. You know, so there was a lot of
And I think
uncomfortable.
the gestures or the actions from other people has to be very, very precise and intentional. So instead of saying things like, you know, I will be there for you whenever, however, you just call me. I think be more specific when you offer your assistance to someone who's grieving or had just gone through a massive loss or something traumatic. Maybe say something like, can I come fetch the kids for 2 hours? Take them to a park? Or would you like to go just walk outside for a little bit? Can I walk with you? Would you like me to go and walk with you? And because I'm not somebody who will ask for help, so it was hard for me to pick up the phone and say, you know, I'm really struggling today. I've been crying for hours and like I'm not able to get out of bed. I'm not able to make something for the kids to eat. I myself wasn't eating, so nourishment for anybody else wasn't actually at the top of my list of priorities. And I must say, in the very beginning, after Sergio passed away, my house was full of people. My house was full of people always. Before he passed away, this was like the place to be. People were at my house Monday through to Sunday, whether it just be for a quick pop in or whatever the case may be. And when he was in hospital, you know, a group of friends of mine with some family were doing like a meal rotation. It was a meal roster. So because I wasn't at home all the time, I was at hospital with Sergio, they sort of had a Monday through to Sunday schedule, and you know, this one would offer to bring a meal on that day, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And some people dropped off groceries and like easy to bake things that the kids could just put in the oven or whatever. But then Sergio passed away, and then my house was full of people all the time. And I think what was damaging in that time, and I say damaging very loosely, but it was hurtful. It was a hurtful reminder of Sergio's absence, not his death, but just that he wasn't here. So with my family being here all the time, it was couples, husbands and wives, that stood out for us. And I think by the third day after Sergio had passed, my son had a bit of a meltdown because his words to me was, everybody's daddy's here, but not my daddy. So that's when family and everybody was present on that day. My house was full. From my side of the house to my mother's side of the house, there was like people were walking around all the time. There was traffic all the time. And then I realized, like, we didn't even get a chance to process our thoughts and all of the emotions that come with because people have been here since I hit the house after he passed away. And I simply just said to everyone, okay, I just need everybody to just give us a minute. I just need you all to go over to my mother's side, and if I can just have a minute with my son. Him and I went into the bathroom, we locked ourselves in, We ran a bath of water. I got into the bath with him. I had nothing inside. There, no clothes, nothing to change into. But I was like, okay, let's just do this. We're gonna sit here quietly, me and you. We're gonna talk about this. And then I did that. And I washed his hair, and I massaged his shoulders, and I massaged his scalp. And eventually, when he was calm, I asked him like, so what's happening? And his words to me was, Mommy, everybody's daddy's here, but not my daddy. And I said, I understand that, boy, because everybody's husband's is here, but not my husband. And it was a very, very bitter pill to swallow. Nonetheless, by the time we came out of the bathroom, everybody had left. Everybody scattered like there was a bomb on its way here.
They didn't know what
They
to
just
expect.
left.
Yes.
And the sad part about it is that some people stayed away permanently. And I think that in some instances people thought that they were giving us our space to grieve. But to us, we felt abandoned.
100%.
Completely abandoned. You know, apart from them leaving on that day, the coming around every day just completely came to a standstill. There were no longer braais at my house. There was no longer, you know, matches being watched on the TV and like get-togethers, anything like that. And later on, as the weeks went past, I sort of asked some of the regulars that used to frequent here, what happened? Why did you just stay away? And they're like, you know, some of them said, well, you don't give us a liquor face when we come to you. I left my liquor face at the hospital. I would have asked them if they found it in Lost and Found. Or like others said, you know, it's hard for them to be inside of the absence of Sergio. And my response to that even was, how do you think it feels for us? So again, my suggestion would be in an instance like that, when it's really hard for you, because Sergio was everybody's person. Not like he was mine, or like not like he was the children, but he was everybody's person. If it's hard for you to come into the space, can you just think for a minute how hard it must be for us to live inside of this void? It would have been really nice if someone said, you know, come around to us. We're gonna pick you up, you and the kids, and we're gonna take you out for breakfast, or not even like you can just come around to our house. We're gonna invite a couple of people over. We can have a braai. Just don't disappear altogether, because that's wrong and very hurtful. And while I try to see everybody's point of view on it, it still hurts to this day. I mean, it's 2.5 years in now, and people still don't come. And I don't see anybody unless I call. And that's something that someone also said, if you needed us, why didn't you reach out? I was at the bottom of a bottomless pit. It was really hard to reach. It was really, really hard to reach. I mean, I couldn't even extend my hand from a plate to my mouth to eat, much less, you know, put up a hand and say, save me. But I mean, you got to kind of understand, and I have to be very forgiving of people's, I'm just gonna say, ignorance on the subject. I mean, my family and friends are lucky enough to still have their spouses. There are some of the families whose spouses had passed away, but they were older when they passed away, and I'm not saying that that's easier or harder. It's just different. Everything is different. So I've had to be very forgiving of the people that we felt abandoned by, and I had to see the, you know, the view from their side. And I 100% get that I wasn't a very social person, and I wasn't very interactive necessarily. I was like a zombie for probably a year, even up until this day sometimes. I mean, I go out with you even, and when we're in family settings, I'm not bubbly or talkative because I'm very aware of the fact that I'm there by myself and amongst all of the other couples. And
you feel alone.
You do. You
Even
feel like
in
you're wearing
crowds.
one shoe the whole time. And I've said this so many times. I even wrote a poem about how, you know, I'm at the party, but I'm waddling because I have one shoe on. I have a beautiful stiletto, but there's just one of it. And you do sort of start to feel very out of place, and it comes back again to the isolation of grief, how we sometimes isolate ourselves and alienate ourselves, but it's because we're picking up on cues from other people.
That, and like what I found is, like with my experience with the people that we had in our lives, um, that yes, they don't know what to say. Yes, I had so much people to help that they didn't need to fill a space. Um, but also, like when Ryan died, and Ryan was similar to Sergio, that he was everyone's best friends. He had so much friends, but that person, he would make you feel the most special. You know, you were it. You know, I mean, and he had a lot of you were it kind of friends. Um, so it was a loss for them, and yes, that of it's weird. I was invited to a braai, I think like a month later, whatever, and I went, but again, I felt so uncomfortable because I was uncomfortable seeing how normal the braai was with them, and here I'm alone. So I would go, I would almost like force myself because that was the only time we'd be out.
Mm.
I'd go to a braai and I'd sit there and I'd be like, oh, it's late. And it's 7 o'clock. I mean, it's late. We're gonna eat and then we're gonna go because it's so uncomfortable. And like the isolation part, a lot of it to me was I didn't feel safe. So going to these places, I mean, Ryan was the safety, the security, the certainty in my life that was ripped from me. So when it came to going out, I'd have to drive, which, I mean, if you knew us, I was always a designated driver, but he was there.
Even if he was the cousin.
Yes, so he was there. So I'd have to drive and it'd be dark. I'd have to make sure we get home safely. You know, like there was that. So being at home was safe. It was us, just us, and I didn't have to put on a smile for someone. I didn't have to be anything. Like my mommy's house was safe. There was only a few places that I felt safe enough to go to where I didn't feel. I mean, because did you initially? I felt like widow was written on my forehead, and everyone else
That's
knew
why
it.
I went away so often in the beginning.
Yes,
Because I just wanted
yes,
to be around people that
because-
didn't know I was a
Yes,
widow.
but I mean, initially I'd go because I'd need to get something at the mall or something, and to me, everyone knows. They can see it in my eyes. I mean, it's that silly thing of when you have a lot of cash with you and someone's gonna try and rob, but it's that kind of feeling. So it's the uncomfortableness in your own self and seeing
Vulnerability.
all the people. I mean, we've had this conversation with going to a shop. I mean, we don't do a shop. We don't do a mall because you look at couples and you're like, yo, that was me. Like, I can't go to a Checkers and see a new sauce because I'd be like, oh, Ryan would have chosen that. Ryan would have liked. So initially, it was doing no shopping. If someone had said, okay, just give me a list of what you need, I'll go do your shopping. That, I mean, it's a basic thing, but people don't understand the hurdles that come with it, especially in the beginning. But that's why we went away, because we needed just to be in ourselves after the funeral. You just needed 4 days. But I mean, the reality is you come back to an empty house. We go out now because we need to shake it off. We come home to our empty beds. I mean, yeah, but
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
typically what we do now, so even if we've been out the whole night,
yes,
we get onto a video call as soon as
Yes.
I'm inside and you inside.
yes,
We get
just-
onto a video call and we talk until, okay, I'm gonna go sleep now.
yes, because it's that part, you know. But anyway, that's another whole episode on its own.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just the uncomfortableness and that people don't know what to say. And then, like, I mean, I'm almost 4 years into this, so you understand that our wheel has stopped. You know, it like instantly stops, and a new wheel has to start turning. Um, Everyone else around us wheel hasn't stopped.
It doesn't change.
Their life still goes on. They still go and lay next to their spouses. Everything continues, and like the sad reality is, you only learn that much later in your grief journey.
Yeah.
But initially, you're like, my whole world has collapsed, and you guys are getting on like normal. Like, how is this normal? This isn't normal, and I hate the term your new normal. There's nothing new about this normal. And like you have to like find something. And I mean, I've given other stats. I'm a stats and a research person. I know it takes 7 whole years before something is like a new normal and you feel comfortable in it. gosh, I still have a long way to go if we like think 7 years.
And that's why I don't like stats, because stats was drawn from other people's normal
Yeah,
that they didn't feel was right anyway,
Yeah.
but they kept on with it because it just felt normal.
yeah,
And I say to you all the time, I don't say something. Sometimes I just keep quiet about stuff because if I say it, it makes it real.
yeah.
And if I'm going to subscribe to the stat of 7 years, I don't think I'll make it cited. I don't
I
think I'll
don't
make
think
it.
we
I don't think I
subscribe
can.
to it, but just the
But
thought
I
of it
just-
takes that long.
I would prefer to change what's normal for me, right? I would prefer to break the mold and figure out a normal that works for me. Things that bring me joy, things that bring me fulfillment, as opposed to just sitting there trying, fully knowing that I'm going to fail because it's not 7 years yet and I'm not supposed to feel normal. You know what I mean? So for me, stats don't matter. What matters is, and I mean, that's a lot of why I don't necessarily talk out about everything, because sometimes I just don't want it. I just don't want it to be so. I just don't want it to be real, and I would rather be the Lulu about it.
But that's why you're supposed to journal it.
And then chop on.
That's
and
why you don't
journaling has been
journal.
ripping me apart. And again, from the time that Sergio got his diagnosis, I had been texting, writing some kind of explanation to someone about the situation currently. Sergio's family does not live in Cape Town, so for most of the journey they couldn't be here with him, so I had to keep the channel of communication open. I was typing out long, that WhatsApp messages and you must read more, and then after you read more, then you get to the bottom, then there's another read more. That's how long the messages were, and I had to do like a play-by-play sort of what had gone down. So for me, writing
voice notes.
was a poor reminder. But in voice notes, you don't remember everything that you want to say, and I would at some point have to write it down and then read it as a voice note. So I just typed it out day by day. So like on this day this happened, on that day that happened, and then subsequently, and so now we're still waiting for tests and whatever. And that wasn't even the hardest part. The hardest part was after you get the responses to your message, and then it's like questions that you can't possibly answer. And I was just spewing out what doctors were telling me. But I was everybody's punching bag at that point. I was the messenger, and the messenger was getting shot without any consideration for what the messenger had been going through, because I, as much as I'm only passing on the message, I was there every day. Every single day for everything. And I mean, the one day I didn't go to him was on Valentine's Day, and then he passed away the day after. So there's, like I say, in journaling, it unpacked a lot of things. It made a lot of things real. It is all real. I mean, it wasn't my imagination. All of these things did happen. But
he did actually die.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Like I think I almost like masked it. I numbed myself to all of that stuff, and even the things that people had said and done subsequent to his passing, I just numbed myself to it, and I stopped feeling. But as a result, my body suffered, because as much as I numbed my feelings, everything else in me became numb. I developed a bit of a eating disorder, and I laugh, but this is actually such a reality. Somebody said to me, it could have been so easy for you to commit suicide. It could have been so easy for you to slip into a depression. And then they say, look at you now, you're so strong. And again, I look at these people and I think, shut the fuck up. Because
that you're so strong. Did you have a choice?
It wasn't much of a choice.
Did
As
you have
much
a
as
choice to
at
become
least
more
he left
God?
you with children and you're not alone.
Oh yes,
That's
here we go. That's another one.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why I didn't off myself, because I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I thought about it. I often still, think
It's
I'll
always there.
just jump in front of the bus. Like, they'll think it was an accident and like, be fine. But it's all of those things that happened and keeps happening, and I really just wish that we can change how we speak to each other. Another thing that needs to change, so my son recently, I think as us as the spouses, we went through a fair amount of shut the fuck up moments with people. The children go through so much, and as much as parents don't want to take responsibility for what their children does outside of the house, because yes, our children is one way at home, and then they a different way outside when they're with friends. But there has to be a level of accountability and responsibility as parents. We need to teach our children how to be socially acceptable. I've had kids say the meanest things to my children. My son was told, you must have been made in China because you don't have a dad. Another friend of a friend sent him a message saying that you are fatherless.
Beep, beep, beep,
All
beep,
the
beep, beep.
used all three
Yes.
of the worst swear words in Afrikaans, and that is further damage that was inflicted on this boy. He knows that he doesn't have a father, but he was not fatherless. He had a dad, and a dad who loved him, and if he had more time with him, I'm sure Noah and Surya would have gotten on like a house on fire. But he didn't have that luxury, and we really just need to speak to our children about these things, because we don't speak about death, we don't speak about sympathy. I think I was just born with everybody's sympathy, because I'm like the most empathetic person ever. But I also teach my children to be like that. So just because somebody's being hurtful, don't be hurtful back. That person has got issues, and that's why they're doing this. So think about how you can be nice to this person. And I don't know why we still use this word, but people have said, I'm raising my son to be a morphe. Like, why are we even still using words like that? But because, why? Because I'm teaching him to be soft and kind and thoughtful and considerate. And the reality of it is, you know what? I might be messing my son up, and I might be making him too soft. But while you're all over there, passing on your unsolicited advice, to me, just think about how hard it must be for me knowing that I'm potentially messing my children up. But I will have no idea until they bring it up.
It's not even you.
I can't teach my son to fight.
We're all messing our children up.
To some degree, right? Whether you have both parents or no parents.
And it's like, yes, teach them about this, but I mean, in the same breath, families look different these days. So it's making them aware, and that it's okay, that this family has two mommies, or this family has two daddies, and that's okay. But let's remember that they have love. And then, yes, you could be messing up your child, but I could be doing the same thing. And then also, us as mommies also need to understand that this is the first time we're doing this as well. So there will be mess ups. There will be that is why we need to be gentler with us, because we also doing this is the rehearsal. It's not a rehearsal. We're playing right now.
It's the final show.
Yeah. So it's like we just need to remember that. Yeah, there will be moments we're gonna mess up.
Take on this additional responsibility of being mommy and daddy.
Yes.
I am actually at the point with my children where I've said to them, I am not mommy and daddy. I'm gonna be a kick-ass mommy for as long as I can, as long as God allows me to walk this green earth. But that's all that I can be. I cannot be a dad. I can be a mommy that takes my son to car meets and dices and all sorts of things. I can be that mommy. That doesn't make me the daddy. I can be the mommy that takes my son to soccer practice. That doesn't make me the daddy. But I'm not going to take on that responsibility of being a dad. I don't know how to father, but I know how to mother. And while I'm doing my best, and while Zaida's doing her absolute best, it just helps to not come in and say random things like,
and still be judged because
and you mustn't, don't be so soft with him, you're making him into a morphe.
But in the same breath, like we've had this thing about getting mentors for the boys, for our boys. That same person that's telling you that isn't saying, listen, I'm coming to fetch.
Step up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm coming to do a little more so that he has a father figure that he can say. I mean, I know his school had a Father's Day lunch, brunch, whatever it was. he couldn't even think of one man that he sees as a father figure because, and that's sad, like.
But again, it comes to people's absence.
Yes.
I mean, you have a lot of um, friends or family that have done really cute gestures with your children that made them feel more like there's a little bit of normalcy. So they would come and fetch your kids to go and buy Mother's Day gifts,
Yes.
for instance. I have a friend who checks in on me every Wednesday. She sends me a message to say, hey, this is your midweek check-in. And I always say to her, I feel so bad sometimes because I don't even reply to this message, and it's been coming for years now.
Yeah.
She's doing it consistently. But some days I just don't reply because I don't feel like having my phone. I don't feel like having a soppy conversation, and I don't feel like dragging anybody down with me in my bad wave or whatever. And when I apologize to her, she tells me to stop apologizing because she says to me, we're in the mud together. Whether you want me to be here or you don't want me to be here, that's where I'm going to be until you are ready to get out of the mud. And that's rare because other people have taken offense to me
not responding.
Other
Especially
people,
in the early days.
so the days and the months following the person's passing or following the trauma, be there consistent.
Yeah, it's definitely the small things. I mean, I had a friend for almost a year send me every morning, good morning. Like 5 o'clock in the morning. Some mornings I'd reply, some mornings I wouldn't. But she wasn't expecting a response. It was just a good morning every single morning. And as the months went on, her good morning almost became every second day. But it was still there, and I'd almost wait for it. And then, but she'd also know when I was going through a funk. She just knew. She would phone randomly and I could be crying in the garage. I'd be like, yo, it's like you just know. So some people show up for you that you didn't think would show up for you.
Yeah.
And then the people that you assume would stay are no longer there. And it's sad because like with our friends, our kids are all more or less the same age. So our kids, they're cousins. I mean, if you know how it works with friends and you grow up together, that's like your cousin. So they've lost friends. They've lost people in their lives. I think I cried and grieved that more like from time to time because every morning I'd wake up and remember Ryan's not here, and then your day goes and the weekend comes and you like you're really alone. Now you miss Ryan and you miss the people and the things you did weekends, like you dread weekends. You like a Monday because it means you're busy, you go to work, you're gonna do something. And it's strange because you always look forward to a weekend to do nothing, and then you hate the weekend and you can't wait for a Monday. I mean, we always talk about that. We used to braai every weekend. Every weekend I would be mad. It would be a chicken sausage braai. Then the next week it's a snoep braai. Then, okay, we might duck of braai, so let's have a potchie this week. But every weekend we had braai. I miss braai so much. I mean, I know you don't eat it, but I miss it so much.
Yeah, I don't eat braai.
It's like a delicacy at this point. I mean, I think we eat more sushi than we do braai. And I mean, braai, we ate, and whether it was like the week before payday, the salad was minimal, it was like whatever lost there was in the house, we're gonna make roosterbrood because that's cheap. But there was a braai every weekend.
And just to get together.
Yeah, but we always braai, that's the thing.
And I think for me, I think I was blissfully ignorant of who my friends were.
No, absolutely.
I'm not saying that they weren't friends to me.
Yes.
But I don't think that I knew exactly who they were. And it's the people that consumed most of our time. And today, none of them are there. But then those same people that you stood for the whole time are just gone.
No insight.
Gone. And not once did any of them say, I'm gonna come and fetch your kids for the school holidays, or I'm gonna come and fetch your kids for the day, or just for a couple of hours, take them to the park or whatever that the case may be. And as much as we needed time to be alone, we didn't need to be alienated from you. I think that's what's so nice with you, is that your siblings are, hands on, your mother's hands on. My mother lives on the same premises as me, so it's not like they can go to my mother for the weekend. They're just here, and nobody will know that because no one else is here with us.
So with me, like the few people that stuck, I could have said I need you to take them, but it would have meant I needed to say, please come fetch them, which to me feels like that makes me a bad mother wanting time alone. Like, please come and just take them for 2 hours. If someone had offered it, I'd be like, yes, cool, take them. I mean, even now, I got a message. We want to take the kids wherever. Yes, take them, but I don't want to be the one to say, look here, I just need a few hours. It takes me a lot to say that. So even though my mommy them is there, again, even though I don't live with her, I can't say, okay, I can say I'm going to drop them for a few hours, but they're not going to sleep over. And in our initial days, our thing was, or my thing was, because it happened so suddenly, they didn't want to be anywhere where I wasn't. So
Separation anxiety.
Yes. So I understand like why people maybe didn't want to take them, but they also wanted to see other people because for an hour they felt a little normal. Like how things were. Yes, they knew their mommy and daddy wasn't there, but for a moment they'd feel a little less.
They'd have fun and just forget.
And just forget. But I mean, that also quickly fades.
Yeah.
It quickly fades.
And that's also alright, because it's the people that take the children should be okay with, like when you take somebody's baby and then they say, if you're gonna cry, I'm not gonna drive 12 o'clock at night to take you to your mommy. The people have to sort of be okay with, I'm gonna take them, but when they want to come home, I'm gonna take them home. I'm not gonna make them feel like they have to stay here.
Yes. So yeah.
And then there's even like, we talk about the negatives and some of the unintentional negatives. You also get people that is like, that is the positive toxicity for me. It's like, it's okay, you're young and you're beautiful, you're gonna find someone else. I mean, right now in this minute, thanks, that's not where my head's at, like, and you're not, and I think we all get there eventually, but don't do that. A random person came to me and said, I know what it's like, my mother passed away, but at some point we must move on. And my immediate thoughts to this man was, you fucking your mother? Because it's not the same, And again, I'm not trying to discredit anybody's loss. Everybody's suffering and loss is valid. Losing a parent, losing a child doesn't make it less important than me losing my spouse. But it does make it intimately different. There's just a level of intimacy that you share with your spouse that no other relationship is like. So to say something as senseless as, I also lost my mother, but I didn't lose my mother. I lost my husband. It's different. And also, don't decide for me that I need to move on. Stating the obvious like that. I will eventually, but it's not for anybody else to say that. Don't say it out loud. Keep your thoughts. Sometimes that's what I say. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, I was asked.
It's that moment.
I was asked recently, do you have a partner? I'm like, what do you mean? No, do you have someone? And my children is with, and this is like a lady. And I say, no. She says, "Aw," and I'm like, that's a little rude. I mean, firstly, do you even know what the market looks like right now? But, so I try and turn it and I'll be like, no, but Riley, I have a boyfriend. He's in my bed and this is how it is. But in the same, like, I get it. It's almost 4 years. But in the same way, it's only almost 4 years. Like, how do you rebuild your whole life? It's like, going from having everything or just like planning a life with someone to live with forever, and now you're telling me, okay, it's like 3.5 years, you don't have a partner, like, oh,
Also, that's additional unnecessary pressure to put
yes.
on a person, because it's not like you just go to the corner shop and then buy a person.
You imagine that would be great, but
You know,
it's
you
not
don't get to
possible.
like pick and choose. And what's hard is that we had lives.
Mm.
So when I started dating Sergio, I had Caitlin, but I mean he was on board with that concept. He took us, you know, as a package deal. I don't know that there's a man alive that would just gladly come and take me with my 3 children and all the problems that, you know, was left behind by my world being tipped upside down. So it's not as simple as just finding someone. And if it was, auntie,
Imagine.
if it was easy,
I mean, imagine.
yeah, we would just like scrape the cents we have between the two of us
Yeah.
and go and buy
You-
2 of them at
yes,
the body shop.
please,
But that's not how it
times 2.
works. So again, like, I don't know, like, to wrap up this whole conversation, I think there's a lot that people just need to be considerate of when they say things, and just stop, man. Stop while you're ahead.
Yes.
Say the bare essentials. Be specific about the help that you can actually offer.
Yes.
Be
And be
intentional
realistic. Be realistic with
Yes.
what you can help with.
Don't make empty promises, because the last thing I want to do is call a bro to come and help me every time, and then his wife is upset because bro's the whole time here by you helping you because you keep on phoning this bro. So don't do that. Like Zaida says, be realistic.
With if you can, or if you can't, just say nothing.
Just
you
say
know?
nothing.
Just offer your condolences. Sit.
Yeah.
Give what you can.
No, but step up. Like if you're gonna say, "Oh, your son needs a father figure,"
Yeah.
then come fetch my son.
Yes.
Take him to the soccer.
But then be consistent.
And be consistent about it. Yes. Don't be
in
flip
wanting
flopping.
to, yeah.
Flip flopping.
But again, it's realistic, intentional, consistent. You know, like that's because I mean they can do it for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then by the 4th week, they're like,
they're bored.
Yeah.
Or their family needs something.
Yeah. So rather say nothing. Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. So that is our little 2 cents. And for today.
Yeah.
For today.
And again, we're glad you know, enjoying our little.
We hope you're still enjoying. I mean, we might actually unpack things that might hit a nerve for some people, and trust me, that is not the intention at all. The intention is really just to be as truthful and honest, to change the narrative going forward, and to hopefully just build a stronger, better community. Yeah, if you want to show up gracefully for people going through a trauma, or just people who are in need of, then be more intentional, be specific, and be consistent with whatever it is that you're going to do. You know, don't turn a blind eye to the isolation and the loneliness. That's a very, very big part of why people end up killing themselves, why they end up, you know, just feel like there's nothing left. And the older folks just die naturally. You always hear somebody saying like, oh, the husband died and then she didn't die long after that, because it's loneliness. That loneliness,
that's dying of a broken heart,
that can actually kill you. So instead of thinking to themselves, oh, you know, at least she didn't commit suicide, you don't know that she hasn't thought of it. So just be a little bit more mindful about what you say and what you do, to the person as well as the children in the scenario, and also teach your children to be better people, because that counts a lot. They are the generations to come, and we all just have to be a little bit more mindful of the people walking around with burdens every single day. So be kind to yourself, and be kind to others, be graceful with your gestures and your words and your intentions, and you know, keep on pushing on. Have the guts. Push on.
Thank you.